I got this information. I got the information from my colleagues, as always, who I think they're doing a fine job. The Leak Caribbean agenda. It is something that you may not be ready for. Here it is. I've broken it down in phase one is the engineered unrest and manufactured regime change. Phase two, strategic military occupation disguised as peacekeeping. Phase three, Caribbean integration into the Pan Caribbean data net. And then there's why the Caribbean now, why now, and Code Red, Haiti as a spark. Look, guys, these are information. You have to share these videos. You have to watch them to the very end for YouTube to push them so that the community can understand what's happening and more persons could get the information. So let's go with the leaked agenda for the Caribbean conflict 2025, the hidden war for the third arc. We are known as the third arc in the Caribbean. So let's begin here. It says classified strategy document allegedly leaked from an internal meeting of the Western Hemispheric Geostrategic Council, a shadow body believed to coordinate covert operations in the Americas, has revealed what insiders are now calling the Third Arc Initiative. It's a multi phase destabilization and takeover plan targeting the Caribbean basin in 2025. I know some people said nothing never happens. Well, that's for the unbeliever. That's fine. Phase one, engineered unrest and manufactured regime change. Remember, these things come up in plans. They don't ever come sometimes at the time you think that they would. All right? So it says phase one is the engineer unrest and manufactured regime change. The document outlines a series of spontaneous uprisings to be ignited across Haiti. I think we've already seen what is happening in Haiti. Next, the Dominican Republic. Next, Trinidad and parts of the Lesser Antilles. Do you see a pattern now? Phase one, engineered unrest and manufactured regime change. The document outlines a series of spontaneous uprisings to be ignited across Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Trinidad, and parts of the Lesser Antilles. These are islands like Grenada, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, Barbados, Lesser Antilles. And you may say, well, Trinidad already has a new government in place. Get ready for it. These uprisings are not grassroots movements, but strategically provoke disruptions using one, weaponized currency inflation via IMF induced economic assistance. Two, cyber disruptions of public utilities blamed on rogue actors or outdated infrastructure. Three, media psyops planting fake stories of government corruption to turn citizens against local leaders. These are things that are in the works for the Caribbean. They may not happen this year, but this is the leaked document. It says destabilize the surface, fracture national identity, create a vacuum. Do you see any of these things happening right now? They outlined a number of countries like Haiti. We know what's happening in Haiti. Dominican Republic really don't have much civil unrest going on right now, but they're part of the clan to come up. Trinidad, they're saying, and parts of the Lesser Antilles. Why would Trinidad come up in this document? Anyway, the true goal, toppling nationalist governments, replacing them with compliant technocrats trained in offshore facilities rumored to exist in the Virgin Islands under the guise of climate resilience programs. I've seen a lot of programs out of Virgin Islands talking about climate change. Man, these guys, the information is on point. The information is basically on point. They're talking about toppling nationalist governments. When you look at governments in the region, people are saying Barbados is becoming like a nationalist. St. Vincent is becoming one. They're saying Dominica. And so you hear these people talking about toppling nationalist governments and putting them with compliant technocrats, not politicians, technocrats. Let's move on to phase two. You got to stay with me for the entire video and share the video. You have to watch the entire video and share the video, guys, so that YouTube could push it so others will be able to see it. It says phase two, strategic military occupation disguised as peacekeeping. Hmm. Under the pretext of humanitarian aid and anti-piracy operations, U.S. Southern Command SOUTHCOM, I think a lot of know about that, and the EU naval forces are scheduled to deploy joint fleets in mid 2025 under Operation Tidelock. Publicly, this is about securing trade routes. Privately, it's about one, gaining control of maritime choke points between Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the Panama Canal. Where did the Panama Canal came up lately? You think this is a joke, eh? Establishing forward operating bases in the Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos, securing deep sea rare earth mineral fields recently discovered in the Caribbean seabed. Yes, minerals, not democracy, are the real reasons the Caribbean is being turned into a hot zone. Guys, this is crazy. You got to listen to the entire end. I've heard about Southcom. I know about the U.S. Southern Command. I know about the EU naval forces. We'll look out for this one. Look out for this one. Phase three, let's move on there. Caribbean integration into the Pan American Data Net. I guess a lot of you haven't heard about that one, right? It's a job political control is achieved. The final phase begins. Integration of all Caribbean states into a singular digital infrastructure connected to the larger PADN system, a hemispheric surveillance and financial grid dominated by US based private intelligence contractors. Look, the US is moving to stablecoin. People are investing billions of dollars in it. East Caribbean Central Bank and moving to Dcash 2.0. A lot of things are moving fast, guys. Elements include a regional digital currency replacing Eastern Caribbean dollars linked to biometric ID. No wonder these countries are all moving to the biometric ID. I think Ghana said they're rolling out by 2026 January. I think Jamaica's already forward there. I heard some Vincent talking about it. Look, a regional digital currency replacing the Eastern Caribbean dollars linked to biometric ID. Mandatory carbon compliance tracking tied to tourism and trade access. Hmm. Full spectrum data collection on population movement, speech, and digital behavior. Have you heard about this thing in Antigua where they said that the government can actually track everybody's WhatsApp? They can get all the messages they want and stuff like that. Oh my God. PADN will ensure peace, prosperity, and accountability. Oh my lord. It's translated from the French Creole, actually, ironically, basically. So the question is, why the Caribbean now? Three reasons. Geostrategic control. The Caribbean sits at the intersection of US China naval influence, and Beijing has already invested heavily in port infrastructure via the Belt and Road Initiative. Control the Caribbean, and you can cut China's reach into the Americas. Look, this is something that the United States is pushing for deeply right now in removing China from its backyard. Two, climate Trojan horse. Climate change fears are being exploited as justification for occupation. Rising sea levels are real, but the militarized response is not about rescue, it's about resource capture. I see a lot of leaders in the Caribbean talking about climate change and climate change. I don't think a lot of them really understand what is going on and why they're being used as pawns in these games. But that's for them. Soft power. With many Caribbean nations facing debt, corruption, and crumbling institutions, they are ripe for intervention and replacement. The world won't bat an eye if peacekeeping forces sweep in under blue helmets, right? We love to see these peacekeeping forces and they come in, oh yeah, they're doing a great job, like what they did in Haiti. A real good job. Code Red, Haiti as the spark. Haiti has been in so much turmoil and continues to be exploiting ground for these people. Internal memos suggest that Haiti is the ignition point with its government already destabilized. A false flag assassination again or UN complicit humanitarian disaster is expected mid 2025. Hmm. Watch for sudden media tension, foreign troops landings, and a rollout of biometric aid systems. Once it is under control, they say that the dominoes will continue to fall. So basically, guys, the thing is when you hear the words regional stability, climate resilience. or emergency aid in the near future. I want you all to pay attention, or in the coming months, notice that they're not coming to help any of us right here. They are coming to own us. And I mean, really and truly, these Caribbean conflicts that they have on paper may never come this year. But it isn't about war, it's about strategic absorption. So basically, what you're seeing here is that the oceans are not the only thing rising. Guys, remember, I want you to share the videos far and wide. You have to watch them to the very end if you want YouTube to push the channel and to get the information to a wider community. Don't forget what's happening. See it on the screen there. Keep it in mind. You can go back and look at the video. And remember to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for viewing, guys.